What's up, Team Talk fam? It's your host, Miss KK, here with.
Your boy B Shaw.
Hey, Aaron.
And your boy Deshaun B.
All right. Now that we have a basic understanding of personality types, let's talk about how in COVID-19, specifically quarantine, is affecting the different personality types. Joining us today as a guest panelist is Miss Sheritta, a minister, a mental health therapist, and a licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling today, Miss Sheritta?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm so excited about you inviting me to your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining the conversation. So, on social media, during the beginning of the pandemic, a meme started floating around that read, Introverts, check on your extroverted friends. They are not okay. Deshaun, did you see this meme? And if so, what do you think about it?
Man, yes, I seen that meme and I seen other memes created with just checking on your strong friends, but I definitely agree with that. Just I feel like people who are so used to talking to a lot of people feel like, okay, they good, they straight, but those are the people you really do need to be just looking out for because they're not able to get that same interaction as they would if the world was open to the same capacity.
Right. And Miss Sharita, in your opinion, do you think introverts have acclimated to quarantine better than extroverts?
Well, honestly, here's my opinion. The enormity of the quarantine and just the pandemic in general has affected everyone, both introverts, ambiverts, and extroverts. But as far as the introverts, I think that part of the comfort zone for introverts is being alone, spending that one-on-one time or a small group. And so sheltering in place in quarantine actually mandated that. So, it was kind of like, okay, this shift is okay for me. This is what I like. So I'm not saying that overall it's been easier because the experience, like I said, the enormity of the experience for all of us has been quite traumatic. However, the sheltering in place piece is good. But extroverts, introverts, and ambiverts, we all need socialization at some point in time. And so it definitely has, affected us in some way or another. But for the introverts, yeah, maybe so. They like being alone. I kind of go in and out of both personality types. I'm more in the middle, the ambivert. Yeah. So I can see where those days where, I had to shelter in place, that it was just okay with me.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because that was my assumption. Because I personally, I identify myself as an introvert, and I have been loving this because it's like there's not a lot of stuff to do on the weekends. I don't have to, rearrange my schedule to go outside and do other things. So I personally like being at home and being able to like get a lot of stuff done. But according to the Wall Street Journal, introverts struggle with uncertainty. So in normal life, they were able to retreat home and take control of a situation, making them feel better and recharge. But they're saying that quarantine has taken that retreat away. And once I read this, I was kind of confused, but then I realized that maybe these introverts who are going home are now with all these people in their house, whereas they used to have times where they could be at home by themselves and their mom and their sisters and brothers were at work and they didn't have to deal with them. So, Aaron, what do you think about that? Were you froze?
I
All
think
right.
Aaron is for you.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, I'll pass that question off to you. What do you think about that when you hear that introverts who, have a big home are just like struggling during quarantine? Do you think that's true or have you heard something different?
I feel like it's definitely a different story for a lot of people because a lot of people have better situations at home, so it's easy for them to enjoy it. Or a lot of people have worse situations at home, so it's more difficult. But definitely, if you're an introvert, I feel like these times are great because you can really focus on what you need to do. Not a lot of distractions going on. If you want to study, you can study. If you want to work out for your sport, you can work out. And I feel like it's a great opportunity for introverts.
Yeah. I think it's a great opportunity for everybody as well. What about you, Deshaun?
I did want to answer the question because I have noticed that like my mom, she's an introvert and she would say when she's at work, the what she's looking forward to is going home and getting her bed. And now when she's working from home, it's like, okay, that's no longer something to look forward to. And especially since everybody is at home, you really don't get no space. It's like you with your family 24/7 every single day. And that's what I don't like, because I feel like we all need our space. And when you go to work and go to school, that's your time away, even though you might not like where you're going, but it's still your time away.
I agree. That's a very good point. So, Ms. Sheritta, I want to ask you, although there are exceptions to the rule of introverts, it says that introverts have been linked to more anxieties and negative mentalities. What do you think introverts can learn from extroverts about having a positive mentality?
Well, I mean, there's one saying that is really prominent right now, and it's really relative, and it says, this too shall pass. And so extroverts in general seem to grasp onto that particular saying, because right now, yeah, it is very stressful, and it has been on everyone. But I would say to the introverts, you know, if you have extroverted friends and family members who have that mentality and kind of operate in that ideal of this too shall pass, then grasp onto that concept and try to apply it to your day-to-day life and thought process as you go through, you know, navigating through this pandemic and quarantining in your home space.
Yeah, I like that advice, because I know we talked about energy earlier, but a lot of the introvert and extroverts has to do with your energy and where you recharge and who you're getting your energy from. So I agree that I have been surrounding myself with extroverted friends, because I do feel like there's a lightness to them. There's a brightness of like, oh, I found out we can go do this and it's socially distanced. Like they know where everything is at that you can go and retreat to. So it is very welcoming to have those type of people in your life to make you get a little bit more positive, because quarantine and this coronavirus is very scary.
Yeah,
Scary on
absolutely.
all fronts.
I agree with you.
So yeah. So Brandon, I want to ask you, why do you think introverts are struggling with their mental health at home more than extroverts?
I feel like introverts are struggling at home with their mental health because it's different now where you're trapped at home. Like Deshaun said, you're with your family 24/7. And it's like a total switch in our day-to-day life. So yeah, that's why I feel like they're struggling.
Okay. I like that. And I see Aaron is back. So Aaron, can you tell me a little bit about your experience during quarantine being an extrovert, since that's what you identify as?
Well, sorry, sorry, my Wi-Fi was a little bugging, but sorry about that.
Good.
But honestly, I'm just bugging my siblings and my parents, to be honest. My siblings, they're not as much of an extrovert as I am. I literally just like all right, I'd be on with my girlfriend and be like, all right, I'm gonna go bug my brother. I'll be right back.
Right.
And then I just go to his room and just like lay on his, just, you know, talk to him. And then after that, I go to my mom's office and just be like, yo, what's up? What are you doing? And then I go to my dad's office, you know, like I'm personally enjoying it, you know, because like when school was actually starting, I would get home at like 2. My little sister would get home at like 2:30. My little brother would get home at 3. My parents would get home at like 5, 6-ish. But like when they would, that's when I would take my daily nap, and I'd wake up at like 7 or something. And then I just be doing my homework. So it's technically like I've been alone for like the most of the day. But when quarantine happened, like, okay, I get to hang out with my family more, and I get to like bug them, and we fun family activities also. Which is like we had like a painting. We painted this.
That's really good.
So yeah. Thank you. We watched the video how to paint, but like been playing family stuff to Monopoly and everything. But I've just been enjoying it.
Well, that's good. And I know Brandon, you have a question that you want to ask everyone.
Yeah. So because of COVID, a lot of almost every teenager is at home right now, opposed to being at school. So I wanted to ask you, like, how big do you think the effect will have on everybody's personalities? And do you think that some extroverts will go to introverts and maybe introverts will switch to extroverts?
That's a very good question. I honestly haven't even thought about that. I do think there is a shift coming to that. I do think maybe people are becoming more ambiverts, like more, I feel like more people are learning how to, navigate both sides of the spectrum, because extroverts are now learning that, okay, they're getting forced to be by themselves, and they're probably getting more used to being by themselves. So now when the world opens back up, they might not want to go outside and hang out with friends every single day of the week, maybe only 3 out of 7 days that week. I think everybody is probably just learning a lot of new skills. But Miss Sheritta, what do you think about that?
Well, I just think that, from birth, our environment and the environmental structure kind of designs and structures how our personality develops. And so I don't think that they will turn into introvert or vice versa. They'll turn into extroverts. But I do think that I agree with you, what you said, the adaptation, there is a certain amount of adaptation due to state and federal mandates, as far as mask wearing, social distancing, certain entities and businesses are closed down. Some are open. We've adjusted and adapted to curbside service and a lot of drive-through, you know what I mean? And so I think that the adaptation will be huge, and you will see a difference in that, just because extroverts have had to adapt. And if a casino is closed down or a banquet hall is closed down, then there's no access for anyone, not even the extrovert. And so they had to adapt. So I think that those adaptations will take some effect, but I don't think that instinctively it will change who they are completely. Social people, social butterflies is what we want to call them, the extroverts. They are, right? And so, like you said earlier, you kind of glean energy from them, because even in the midst of the pandemic, they still know where to go. They're going to find out, what the rules are, but they still have that need to get out and socialize and connect. And, here's the deal, we were all born into some type of connectivity, in utero, we're connected to our mom's umbilical cord. So of course we all need that connection as humans. But yeah, I think that they will definitely adapt, but not completely change who their personality type is. Yes.
I agree with that. I think, and you brought up another question that I had about, personality types. And one of my biggest questions was, can personality types be inherited? Because I do know, like, there are certain types of families where everyone in the family is so funny. Everyone in the family is very social. And whereas for me, I know I'm a lot like my mom, where it's like, she kind of does the same thing I do. Like, we have to prepare to go out to, to entertain people and like get ourselves revved up. So I feel like I get a lot of my introverted traits from her. So do you think that we are born just with a personality type, or do you think that, we kind of mingle and get that from our family and it's like an inherited trait?
I think both. I think that I know for sure environmental factors are a huge, contributing factor to how our personalities develop, but also inherently we do develop, character traits from our parents, and so it's a combination of both.
Okay. And what about you, Deshaun? Have you ever noticed in your family, like, are everyone like social butterflies like you? Do some of them like to stay to themselves? Is it a mix of both?
It's definitely a mix of both. I haven't really met anybody who's outgoing like me. My family actually hate when I do it. Like, they enjoy for me to be outgoing and receive the benefits of being outgoing. But the minute I want to include them in anything that got to do with them talking, they going the other way. So that's how they really be when it comes to a lot of stuff.
All right. And I know we mentioned social media a lot in this segment, but I also wanted to bring up the fact of trends. A lot of things go trending on social media, just like that meme about, introverts check on your extroverted friends. And with, social media and now everyone being able to Google this stuff, Aaron, do you think personality types are now becoming a trend, almost like a stamp of label? Like, I've seen people proudly wear introverts, like saying it on their shirt that they're an introvert. Do you think that's a good thing or kind of like a bad thing?
I think it's kind of like why are you doing that? Like what's the point? Because when people usually like make shirts, they probably do it to like stand up for something, to make people laugh or something, just to be like, I am introvert. That's just like, okay, cool. But I think that I think it's kind of interesting. Not like not a good or a bad interesting, just like the regular interesting. Why why people would just be like, well, I'm introverted now, and I'm wearing a shirt to label my introvert. So don't approach me or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I kind of feel like, I'm be honest, I don't like trends in social media. I don't really like that because I feel like it takes away a little bit of the meaning of something, which is
Yeah.
why I love the show, because now it's like, okay, now you know exactly what it is. So
Mhm.
so you know how to spot the person. But Miss Sheritta, how do you feel about social media taking these personality types and kind of making them a meme or just something to say?
Yeah, well, I think that, social media has a large influence, hence influencers on our life and our lifestyles. But we have to be just so careful to understand that we're all intricately designed and we all have different, personalities and things like that. And so just being able to be aware of that and to show some compassion towards it. Me, myself, if I see someone with a shirt that says I'm introverted, I don't feel any kind of way about it because I feel like we all have the freedom of expression. And it would be
That's
no
true.
different than me saying like, I love LA or, New York on it or whatever it is that I want to convey, or that makes me feel good. So it actually
Yeah.
makes me feel compassionate towards the person because, I do have family members who are definitely identify as introverted. And so it makes me, like I said, a little bit more compassionate because there's sensitivities to certain things that they can't handle, they're
Yeah.
overstimulated by, and sometimes it actually can send them reeling into a space of like, feeling overwhelmed, getting migraine headaches, things like that. And so for me, I don't look at it as a way to like judge them or like they're weird or anything like that. I have compassion. I understand it, that it's their freedom of expression. Trends, trends come and go, and that's fine.
Yeah.
People have the right to trend. But when we're talking about personality types and things like that, I take it very seriously because as a therapist, I understand that, there are some people who are highly sensitive to certain stimuli. And if they fall into that category of introverted personality, then, I need to be sensitive to that. I need to be aware that certain loud noises or large
Right.
groups or bright lights may, cause a migraine for that person. It may manifest physically where they get nauseous and it's not enjoyable for them. And
I've
so,
honestly, oh, sorry. I was going to say, I've honestly never thought about that, the medical side of each personality type. So thank you so much for your answer. And honestly, just coming in and joining this Teen Talk discussion about introverts and extroverts, we've greatly enjoyed your contribution, Ms. Sheritta. And I also want to say thank you all for tuning into this Teen Talk discussion. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Teen Talk Vegas 881 and also check us out at teentalkvegas.com.